Chapter 2. Transform self-love into empathy. Part 3. Examples of narcissistic types. 1. The complete control narcissist. Joseph Stalin, the Soviet Union's premier, charmed people with accessibility. He encouraged everyone to address him with "you" and listened attentively. He made them feel important and part of the revolutionaries, ending meetings with intimate gestures. Sometimes, he'd turn aloof, driving his courtiers crazy, but the mood would soon pass. 2. The charming narcissist. Stalin, a man of the people, loved to sing and tell jokes, gaining power and control. 3. The deceptive narcissist. As Stalin's power grew, his apparent friendliness was not genuine. The first sign was among his inner circle. 4. The manipulative narcissist. Stalin used manipulation to control his courtiers, turning aloof to drive them crazy and then basking in their affection. These examples illustrate the complexities of narcissistic behavior. Sergei Kirov, a prominent Politburo member and close friend of Stalin's wife, faced a tragic fate. Kirov, an enthusiastic and simple man, became too popular. In 1934, regional leaders offered him the premiership, but he remained loyal and revealed the plot to Stalin. However, a coldness towards Kirov developed. Realizing his mistake, Kirov tried to appease Stalin by praising him excessively, but this only made Stalin suspicious. Kirov's past jokes at Stalin's expense, once a sign of closeness, now seemed insincere. Trapped and helpless, Kirov was assassinated in December 1934. Though no one directly implicated Stalin, it was likely his tacit approval. Years later, Stalin's close friends were arrested, leading to the devastating purge in the late 1930s. Hundreds of thousands lost their lives, and Kirov's top lieutenants were tortured for confessions, which Stalin eagerly accepted. The torture revealed Stalin's friends' desperation. He laughed at their accounts of kneeling and begging for forgiveness, enjoying their humiliation. What had changed this congenial man? He could still show affection but could turn against them instantly. Other traits emerged. Outwardly, Stalin was modest, the proletariat incarnate. He'd react angrily to tribute, but his name and image appeared everywhere. Pravda ran stories on his every move, almost deifying him. Planes flew overhead spelling his name at military parades. He denied involvement in the growing cult around him but didn't stop it. He increasingly spoke of himself in the third person, as if he'd become an impersonal revolutionary force, making him infallible. If he mispronounced a word, every subsequent speaker had to follow suit. As Hitler prepared to invade the Soviet Union, Stalin oversaw every war effort detail. He berated his lieutenants for slackening their efforts, complaining, "I am the only one dealing with all these problems. I am out there by myself." Many generals felt caught in a double bind. If they spoke their mind, he'd be insulted. If they deferred, he'd rage. "What's the point of talking to you?" he shouted to generals. You reply, "Yes, Comrade Stalin." "Of course, Comrade Stalin. Wise decision, Comrade Stalin." In fury at loneliness, he fired his generals and oversaw every war detail. His lieutenants read his moods and avoided making him anxious, making him unpredictable. Looking him in the eye seemed suspicious, but too long made him nervous. Taking notes was allowed, but not writing everything. Some bluntness worked, while others led to prison. Figuring him out became an arcane science. Invitations to dinner and a movie at his house were impossible to refuse, becoming more frequent after the war. Outwardly, it was like before, a warm, intimate fraternity of revolutionaries. Inwardly, it was terror. During all-night drinking, he watched his lieutenants closely, forcing them to drink more and lose control. He delighted in their struggles to avoid incriminating themselves. The worst part was at the end of the evening when he played music, ordered them to dance, and made Nikita Khrushchev, the future premier, do the Gopak, a strenuous dance that often made him sick. They would slow dance together, smiling and laughing at the sight of grown men dancing as a couple. It was the ultimate form of control. The puppet master choreographing their every move. Interpretation: Joseph Stalin in his type-present riddle. How can narcissists be charming and gain influence? How can they connect with others when they're so self-obsessed? The answer lies in their early careers, before they turn paranoid and vicious. These types are more ambitious and energetic than average deep narcissists, but they also have greater insecurities. To mollify these insecurities and satisfy their ambition, they gain from others more than usual, which can only come through social power in politics or business. Early on, they find the best means for doing so. Deep narcissists are hypersensitive to perceived slights, probing people's feelings and thoughts for disrespect. They can tune this sensitivity to others, listening attentively, mimicking empathy, and controlling people. Their attention is genuine and effective, creating camaraderie that they stifle to maintain control. They initially captivate with attention and affection, then subtly lure you in, making you want to rekindle the warmth. Combined with their high confidence, they can be devastatingly seductive, attracting followers. Complete control narcissists stimulate closeness but keep you at a distance, controlling their emotions and reactions. As they gain power, they resent playing the charm game and turn against former friends, revealing their envy and hatred. They control who's in and out, who lives and who dies, creating double binds and arbitrary decisions to terrorize you with insecurity. They now control your emotions. Eventually, they'll become micromanagers, unsure of whom to trust, as people become automatons incapable of decisions. If they reach extremes, they'll destroy themselves due to the impossibility of eliminating free will. People rebel, even the most cowed. You will likely encounter this type in your life due to their ambition, often becoming bosses, CEOs, or even political leaders. Figures and cult leaders initially charm you, but their interest is superficial and fleeting. Focus on their coldness and inevitable attention. Examine their past. They lack deep relationships and signs of a troubled childhood. Stalin's father beat him mercilessly, and his mother was cold and unloving. Listen to those who've seen their true nature and tried to warn others. Lenin understood Stalin's lethal nature and tried to warn others on his deathbed, but his warnings went unheeded. Notice the terrified expressions of those who serve such types daily. If you suspect you're dealing with one, keep your distance. They're like tigers. Once you're too close, you can't escape and will be devoured. 2. The theatrical narcissist. In 1627, the prioress of the Ursuline nuns in Loudun, France, welcomed Jean de Belziel, a strange creature. She was small, had a pretty face, but a malicious glint in her eye. In her previous house, she made enemies with her sarcasm. Surprisingly, in the new house, she transformed, acting like an angel, helping the prioress with daily tasks. Given books on Saint Teresa and mysticism, she became engrossed in the subject, spending long hours discussing spiritual questions with the prioress. Within months, she became the house expert on mystical theology. Jean, the most pious sister, was recommended as the head of the Ursuline nuns in Loudun despite doubts. Strange stories emerged from her, including dreams of a local parish priest, urbane grandeur, physically assaulting her. Before inviting him to become the house director, he had declined. Locals considered him a gallant seducer. Given her piety, it was hard to believe she fabricated the dreams, which seemed real and graphic. Soon, others reported similar dreams. The confessor, Canon Leon, called in exorcists, believing the nuns were possessed by grandeur. The exorcisms attracted a public audience, who witnessed the nuns' contortions and obscene screams. Jean seemed the most possessed. The public clamored to witness her exorcisms, which the exorcists believed grandeur had orchestrated. He was arrested and charged with sorcery. Based on the evidence, Grandeur was condemned to death and burned at the stake on August 18, 1634. The nuns were cleared of demons, except Jean. The demons refused to leave her and grew stronger. The Jesuits sent Father Jean-Joseph Jurin to exorcise her. Surin found her knowledgeable about demonology and despondent, but didn't resist the demons. Perhaps she had succumbed to their influence. She favored Jurin and kept him company for spiritual discussions. She prayed, meditated, gave up luxuries, and shared her progress with him. She claimed to have received a kiss from God. With Jurin's help, demons fled her body. Her first miracle was reading Joseph's name in her palm, which fated to reveal Jesus, Mary, and other names, a sign of true grace. Jean fell ill and nearly died. Jean d'Anges, a beautiful angel with long blonde hair, visited Saint Joseph, who cured her with fragrant oil. The oil left 5 clear drops on her chemise, vanquishing the demons. Surin agreed to accompany her on a European tour to show off her miracles. In Paris, crowds flocked to her hotel, and she met Cardinal Richelieu. She showed her stigmata to the King and Queen of France. The tour continued, where she met aristocrats and luminaries. In one town, 7,000 people visited her convent daily. Jean d'Anges wrote a booklet detailing her possession, thoughts, and the miracle. Her head was decapitated, mummified, and placed in a silver gilt box with crystal windows next to her anointed chemise at the Ursuline house in Loudun until the French Revolution. Interpretation: Jean de Belziel's early years were marked by attention-seeking behavior. Her sarcasm and superiority drove the nuns insane in Poitiers. Sent to Loudun, she adopted a different approach to gain recognition. Given spiritual books, Jean sought knowledge and piety. Pretending piety, she gained favor with the prioress. As head of the house, boredom and attention craved. Grandeur's dreams fabricated, self-suggestive. After exorcists arrived, she devoured a demonology book, exaggerating traits for possession. She became the spectacle's star, degrading and lewdly during possession. After Grandeur's execution, Jean craved attention and refused to let go of the demons. She sensed others' weaknesses and desires, including the prioress and exorcists. Father Jurin tried to redeem her with simple miracles. Some speculated she etched or traced the stigmata with acid or colored starch, as they appeared only on her left hand. In extreme hysteria, sensitive skin reacts to fingernails. As someone who experimented with herbal remedies, she could apply fragrant drops. Doubt arose about the anointment and tour. Jean's true appetite for attention was undeniable. Years later, she continued seeking attention. Jean's autobiography revealed her theatrical personality, despite her insistence on sincerity. Daily sisters saw through her facade, describing her as an attention-seeking actress. Deep narcissism is often overlooked until extreme behavior occurs. Deep narcissists are masters of disguise, sensing that revealing their true selves, their need for constant attention and superiority, would repel others. They exploit their lack of a coherent self, playing many parts and disguising their need for attention through dramatic devices. They may even go beyond seeming moral and altruistic, making a show of it or reveling in their victimhood. To avoid being consumed by their needs or used for their purposes, recognize narcissists focus on themselves, their supposed goodness or suffering, their squalor, and the theatricality of their gestures. Everything they do or say is for public consumption. Don't become collateral damage in their drama.